Guan Yin. So every language is like across the board, all the way from Korea, Japanese, all the way down to Vietnamese. Vietnam is like half of the globe almost, the same name. So you may ask, so what is Guan Yin, Guan Yam, or whatever, however you want to express? So what is this about? So what is this Bodhisattva about? What is this practice? And is he a man or is he a woman? Okay. Oh, I have what, 15 minutes? Okay. So I think tomorrow we have part 2, right? So maybe today I can stop here and I can continue tomorrow. And if you have any questions or you have anything you want to share about Pumenpin, the Universal Gate chapter, the Lotus Sutra, or you have anything you like to share, any questions, any thoughts, because I think we should have a little time for sharing. Yeah.
We have about 15 minutes. Anybody want to ask any questions?
Yeah, I think we have less than 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So how does Guan Yin connect with you? Because I know people personally, I think in Vancouver or maybe some other places, they really seek a couple, they married for some years, they don't have no child, no children. So the mom really prayed to Guan Yin for a child. And I think after maybe a year or two, and she told me personally that she could feel the connection. So it's like calming your mind, staying focused, and then eventually they have a son. And that was in Hong Kong. And after they moved to Canada, they have a daughter. So they have now they have 2 children. Of course, the children are all grown up and married even. So maybe some of the ladies, I don't know. I mean, or maybe you don't want to. It's maybe too personal for you. But a lot of people, they really have connection with. They really feel that Guan Yin is there for them. Okay, or Guan Shi Yin. So I know tomorrow is a special day. Yes.
Come about. The Wonders of Mercy, Guan Yin, the story come about.
How does the story?
Like Buddha, we know about the stories that he was a prince, and how about this Wonders of Mercy? There's I think different versions of it. Yeah. So the story of this Goddess of Mercy is started. How it started?
Oh, okay. I don't really have a lot of information on Goddess of Mercy because, of course, even when I was in Vancouver, I learned in Chinese basically, and then I started to read a little bit more in English. And when I went to Xilai, that is when we have more information available, especially the English translation of what people refer to. That I came across this term as Goddess of Mercy, but I think it's just very poor translation. We say 大悲嘛, okay? In Chinese it's like great compassion, 慈悲嘛. So I think it's just very poor translation. So they say mercy, and I think they use maybe Christian terms. So they use Christian term mercy, and they don't know. I don't think they really understand the word bodhisattva. And believe me, when I think more than 10 years ago, or we would say even 15 years ago, when you type bodhisattva, we all use word, right? They would say you are wrong spelling, okay? Maybe Buddha is more popular. They would accept Buddha as a correct spelling. But even today, when you type Buddha, they will automatically make your B a capital because they only know one Buddha. For them, Buddha is a capital B. It's a proper noun, that's it. But for us, we know there's more than one Buddha, right? So they don't even recognize the word bodhisattva. They say it's a wrong word. It's not English. But now I think it's a good sign that after so many years, Buddhism has become popular. People understand the word, what is bodhisattva. So bodhisattva now, if you type it in, you can go home and try it right away. They would not say it's a wrong spelling. So maybe in those days, of course, different people have different interpretation and translation, and then they would use Western terms, okay? They would use, it's like using Christian terms to translate Buddhism. So they say, okay, it's a woman, so we call her a goddess. And it's always a her, okay, as a goddess. So a goddess of what? they don't have the word compassion. They're not used to those kind of terms. So it is not compassion, it's mercy. Oh, I can do it tomorrow. Tomorrow. Come back tomorrow.
Okay, come back tomorrow.
We don't have time today.
Yeah.
Those are all legends. So the so-called 32, these 32 are more like Chinese stories and legends. Those are very interesting stories. But you know, it's in the context of the ancient times. But in the sutra, the manifestations are different. In the sutra, it's completely different. If you read Pu Men Pin, if you read the Universal Gate chapter, or if you get a book and you go home and read it first, then you know what I'm talking about tomorrow. Okay, the manifestations are very different. So I think another way is it may be also affected by those stories, the different stories. So it's always showing kindness. So the best way, they may think that kindness is too plain, so they call mercy. So they call it goddess of mercy. Okay. So I think this is it's so a lot of when you look at Buddhism, when you read and study them, you have to understand when and the cultural context. The cultural context is very important. So some people may think that because when the Buddha was teaching 2,600 years, this 2,600 years ago, ancient India, of course it's very different from today. Okay, in those days, women has no place at all. I think even today in India, it is still very tough for women. But imagine 2,600 years ago, it's even worse. So woman has no place at all. However, the Buddha recognized women. In the Lotus Sutra, there's this 8-year-old girl, the dragon girl, the princess, actually, Nongnu, is like a dragon princess. She became a Buddha right away. So the Buddha was showing and telling women, especially, okay, the female gender, hey, you know, even the disciples, Sariputra, they are very wise, but they're still arhats. But this girl, this young girl, became a Buddha right away. So what do you think? Right? Yes.
I think this is just more for my sharing purpose. I'm born in a Buddhism family, so since young I will listen to Da Bei Zhou, and I like it because you know when you hear the rhythm. But I wish to master it as I grew up, you know, but I can't. I just couldn't read it. There were so many pages.
Yes.
But surprisingly, back in 2004. That was about 11 years ago. Time was quite bad for me, but then at that point in time was still okay. And I start to want to really pick up on Da Bei Zhou. And I heard somebody came and tell me that, one of my friends told me that if you really want to learn, then maybe you need to Fa Yuan. So-called, you really need to make a vow that why you want to learn and what's the purpose. So I thought about it overnight and I say, okay, I want to learn, and I really want to learn. And if I learn it and anybody comes to me that have difficulties, hopefully I can master the Da Bei Zhou, and then I pray for the person, and then I have to release their pain or whatever. And surprisingly, 2 weeks, I keep on reading and I master it until today. It's just like speaking.
Yes.
But the question is, to me until today, I'm still asking myself, whether was it the power of Guan Yin helping me, or was it my will and determination that I really want to learn? That's what I want to ask about.
Okay. Okay, I have a personal experience with Da Bei Zhou as well. I remember I was in Vancouver. I was just a lay person like any one of you, okay? And I was very curious because I've heard so much about, you know, people would talk about Da Bei Zhou all the time. And I look at it, what? 2 full pages? And said, how am I going to memorize this, okay? So, of course, there are different means and ways. And like you know, I say, I really want to learn. So I think I can memorize it in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I think about the same time. So when you have the resolve, so even Guan Yin, okay, even Guan Yin Pusa, you have to have, even Guan Yin is willing to help you, but if you also help yourself, if you have that inner strength, you're at least twice or 3 times as fast, because you can connect much more easier. Actually, what we need is a pure mind. Yeah, when your mind is pure, when you are calm, you can get things done. You make the right decision. So that's why so many people nowadays, Asia as well, and of course in the Western world, because it's so stressful, they need to calm down. And with most mantras, any dharani or mantras, dharani is the Sanskrit word for mantras. So for a mantra or dharani, sometimes, most of the time, we don't translate. There's no translation. But occasionally, because some of those very popular mantras, such as Om Mani Padme Hum, or that's also very powerful, okay? Dai Bei Zhou, and also maybe even the Medicine Buddha mantra. Sometimes people translate that. But actually, translation is like kind of redundant, because the power of a mantra or a dharani is in the sound of those Sanskrit words. They say, a lot of people think that there's empowerment. There's empowerment for your mind and for your whole being in that sense. So a lot of people would kind of calm themselves, or is their practice. Sometimes they say, every night I would recite one time, or maybe 5 times, or whatever times that you set for yourself. It really calms your mind, it's really empower your mind. So a lot of people would do that as a practice, or even just the Buddha's name. There's so many tests, the scientific tests actually I've seen. I would like to think that it's something very unbiased and individual, because people doing that are not Buddhists. So they find out that even those words, even the word Buddha itself, just one word for, is very powerful. It can be very powerful for us. So of course, in this very stressful life of ours, of modern people, we say we need all the help we can get. But it's not just for ourselves. I think, especially when you have family, or you have a young family, you really can also help your family and those around you. Dai Bei Zhou is very powerful. It's very, very powerful. So a lot of people would make it as their practice, or even play it in the car. There's so many CDs now, play in the car, and it calms you in driving. Here, I think Singapore is pretty good with the traffic. Oh, in Los Angeles, it's crazy. You really need all the help you can get. When we're talking about transportation times, here, 30 minutes is very far, right? Singapore is, you say, Singapore is very small. 30 minutes, you can get anywhere. Or 1 hour, it's very far away. But in Los Angeles, they would tell you, 40 minutes. Yeah, about 40 minutes, easy, And it's like without traffic jam. But if there's a traffic jam, you can't even count the time. Okay, so imagine people going home, work, they say commuting, right? Back and forth, maybe 3 hours a day. So you just spend 3 hours on the road behind the wheel. So how stressful is that? So actually, modern people especially, really need that. So yeah, it's good. So a lot of people may ask, what should I be doing? What is the Guanyin Famen? Also, what is the method, the practicing Guanyin? Dai Bei Zhou is definitely one of them. Okay, and just the name, just recite the name, Guanyin Pusa or Guansi Yin Pusa, and don't be attached. Okay, don't be attached to like whatever form, whatever that you feel comfortable, whatever you feel that is really helpful, that you feel happier, you feel calmer in doing that. Do it. Okay, that's why I say, don't just say, okay, this venerable said this is good, okay, I do this. Oh, she said this is good, I do that. No, you have to kind of decide we have to decide for ourselves, because nobody can practice for you. Nobody can do it for you. Whatever you do, nobody can take it away from you. Okay, it's all yours. All right. So this is most important. So do I carry on? It's 9:30.
One more. Anybody? Okay. One more question?
I don't want to keep you from.
Well, if not, I have one question. I just want to know, the word Kuan Yin is basically known in Asia, probably. You come from the western part, you're living there. Do they use the word Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, or how do they?
Well, I tell you,
what's the most common term?
Well, in America, okay, I think in a class, when you talk to them, you have to let them know what is Avalokiteshvara. Okay, so you can explain to them Avalokitesvara is actually the same meaning as Guan Yin, because Guan Yin is a translation of the meaning. It's not just a sound. So if you say Avalokitesvara, it's very difficult, right? It's hard to speak, very long. So Americans, they would understand that. Okay, they would say tell them this is a Sanskrit word, this is a meaning. They understand that. But if they have affinity with Chinese culture, or they kind of like the Asian culture and the Buddhist culture, they can connect with Guan Yin easily. They will get Guan Yin. And of course, with Pusa, may be a little difficult. Okay, Guan Yin Pusa for us is just like that, very easy. But they would like to maybe call Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Yeah, but they know this is the meaning. The key here is to explain the meaning, and it's compassion, loving kindness. Actually, these are very, very popular terms or catchwords in the Western culture too. Because when you look at the world today, okay, they would always use compassion. Even President Obama would occasionally mention compassion. There's compassion for everyone. Okay.
Okay, thank you. No more questions?
Okay. You have.
Yes.
师父吉祥. Just now you mentioned that the mantra is being empowered due to the sound of the Sanskrit word. So what if someone actually chanted the mantra without a sincere heart versus someone who actually translated the mantra into meanings that they know of, and then they chanted the translated mantra with a sincere heart? What's your view on this?
Oh, okay. Of course, the sincere heart is the key. Okay, the sincere heart is the key, because we say the pure mind will bring you the pure land. Okay, if your mind is pure, the land is pure, right? That is the Vimalakirti Sutra. The mind is pure, the land is pure. So if you have a pure mind, that's the best thing. Okay, so that's why I say don't be attached. Remember that old lady story? Om mani padme hum, okay, because she's illiterate, so she said Om mani padme niu, right? I'm sure you've heard of that story. It's Om mani padme niu, but she's so dedicated. Okay, the peas will jump by itself every time she would be counting, because she doesn't even know how to count. She's illiterate, and she kind of get the last word wrong. Instead of hong, it's become niu, because it's in the Chinese character it's niu, right? So all her life she's recited Om mani padme niu, Om mani padme niu. And because of her dedication and sincerity, even the beans can jump by themselves here. It's almost like a miracle, right? But then some monk came along and said, hey, she got it wrong. I better tell her, because that is not right. Okay, this is not what the mantra is saying. It's not Om mani padme hum. It's not Om mani padme niu. It should be hong. So she heard about this. The monk told her, you got it wrong. I said, wow, I've been chanting for decades and I got it wrong. Ooh, okay, it's like her world fell apart. And so it's very difficult to say, oh, mani, bami, hong. Okay, it's not new, okay, hong. So when her mind becomes attached, so her mind has an attachment, then it won't work for her. Okay, so finally, the monk came back again and found out, oh, okay, her house is not as glowing, is not like she is not, because she has a problem. She has to overcome this problem with her words. Okay, it's her speech. It's almost like a speech. What do you call that? Impediment. Okay, it's like she's got a speech impediment. So she has to correct it, and then because she's distracted, her mind is no longer as sincere and pure. So whatever it is the mind. If you say that the translation works for you, you have sincere mind, go ahead. Go ahead, okay? But the general belief is the words are empowering. But if your mind is so pure, even the Chinese or even a translation can be empowering. And for us, okay, how we learn is use the Chinese transliteration, right? Right? So it's not the original transcript. We have two versions. Remember the CDs, and I think maybe Venerable Wu Chun can, if she can chant in the original Sanskrit. But for us, okay, it's just Chinese transliteration. So a lot of people they recite or chant the Chinese translation. It works for them. Okay, would that answer your question? All right, good. Okay.
Okay, shall we all rise and round of applause for the wonderful teaching?
Thank you.
Shall
Thank
we
you.
put our palms together and one bow?
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.